How's it going? I'm Sydney from PhoneDog.com, and welcome to the show. I know things look a little bit different. You probably noticed that already, and if you're on YouTube, you probably noticed that already too. Um, Ustream has not been cooperating for me. Well, for one thing, I got a new computer, and so I've been like getting everything set up, and because we use Ustream Producer, and then when I was using Ustream Producer, it was like screwing up the image, and so I was like, okay, I'll just use Ustream's web, the simple way of doing everything. So anyway, so there was that, and then because I got a new computer, my monitor, I have to because it's just like it's a whole mess, and I don't know how I'm going to explain everything, but it's a lot of good things because obviously I needed a new computer, and so but it was I've been like trying to make everything work. So the setup is a little different, the lighting is a little different, and I know I look a little bit dead and pale and stuff. So I'm really sorry about that. I've been like working with all kinds of different light bulbs, and I have like basically just shining everywhere. And so anyway, yes, it is kind of a different setting, but we're just gonna move on and not even worry about it. Hopefully next week I'll be back to normal, or the setup will be back to normal. Um, but anyway, and hopefully nothing else goes wrong. I mean, I'm assuming everything else should be fine, but just hopefully nothing else goes wrong. Um, but welcome to the stream, everyone on Ustream. I'm glad you're here. We do have pretty good show today, and then I have a couple of exciting developments I would like to tell you about. And if you're watching this on Ustream, I mean, no, if you're watching this on YouTube, check out the description below the video because I have the timeline there and you can skip around and, just watch whatever part of the video you want to watch. But anyway, so yeah, first of all, also, I'm a little bit out of sorts, so if I jump around a lot, I'm just not. Anyway, first of all, I want to tell you guys about a contest that we're having just while I wait for everyone to kind of filter in, because I know it usually takes like about 10 minutes before everyone gets here. So first of all, I just want to tell you guys about this contest. We are giving away, we're actually giving away a couple of phones. I don't know how many. It's the Samsung Focus Flash, and we're giving away a few of them. And it's really easy. It's very simple. It's not like a complicated one that that we have in the past. But basically, all you have to do is get on Twitter, and there's a message that you just have to tweet. You can find it. We have a post on PhoneDog.com where it will explain the rules, and also it'll have that message that you have to tweet. But anyway, all you have to do is tweet this message, and then that's it, and you're already entered to win a Samsung Focus S. We will have a live drawing like we usually do. Aaron will randomly draw a few winners, and then they will be sent the phone. So it's really simple, but you could win a Focus S for you or for someone that that wants a new phone. So yeah, go to phonedog.com and all the details are there, and it's very simple. Like I said, I just want to tell you guys about that because you should know. It's pretty cool. And you don't have to be 18. You can, if you're 13 or over, you can enter to win. So go do that. If you are under 18, you still have to get parental consent, but at least you can still enter as long as you're 13. And you have to be in the US or Canada. But anyway, so that's that. You can win a Focus S. Go to PhoneDog, read all about it. Also, I do want to tell you guys about a really exciting thing, but I'm going to tell you at the end, just so you're stuck listening to me the whole time. You have to wait. Unless you're on YouTube, then you can just skip to the end. But anyway, so yeah, let's start with some big news. AT&T. Okay, so who's happy about AT&T, the AT&T T-Mobile merger not going through? Because I know, we've talked about it, and of course, you guys probably all know by now. It's AT&T decided to give up. Basically, they're dropping it. It's not going to happen. And I know, I had kind of like gone back and forth. I could see some of the benefits, but at the same time, I could understand some of the concerns that people had, and I really didn't know what the best thing was to do, and so I was like, you know what, I'll just let the government decide, and I was just gonna leave it at that. But we've talked about it before, and it was kind of surprising because when it first came out, a lot of people were mad about it. They were very upset, but it seemed like kind of as more people kind of wrap their minds around it, it seemed like there were more people that were happy for it. Obviously, the T-Mobile customers are the ones that were typically upset, and then the AT&T customers are the ones that were happy because it was definitely going to bring benefits to AT&T. I mean, I don't think anyone can deny that AT&T was definitely getting some huge benefits of that. So obviously, AT&T customers were very happy, but T-Mobile customers weren't really. So, but yeah, I was kind of on the fence. I didn't really know, is it good or is it bad? I kind of just decided to leave it up to somebody else and not worry about making up my mind about it. But it doesn't matter anymore because it's not going to happen. And so the good thing about this is that whenever they proposed the acquisition, they had also set like a sort of like a plan B in case it didn't happen, of basically what would happen, what AT&T would have to do, what T-Mobile would have to do, but I think was very smart on T-Mobile's part. Or Deutsche Telekom really is the parent company. It was really smart for them because they really just needed help, whether it was spectrum or just anything. And so if they could partner with AT&T, it would be great. But it wasn't like they were partial to AT&T. They really just wanted help. And so I think it was really smart for them to be like, yeah, sure, we'll partner with you, but just in case it doesn't work, how about you give us $4 billion? Just in case. And I was like, that is brilliant. And so, for Deutsche Telekom, like, it was no big deal if it didn't go through. I mean, yeah, obviously they would, I mean, it's more help for them if it does go through, but I mean, they still get $4 billion. 3 billion of that is just straight up cash, which is like, $3 billion cash, the fact that AT&T has that much. And then $1 billion worth of spectrum, which is going to help a lot. And, obviously, Deutsche Telekom, the parent company of T-Mobile, they're the ones getting the money. So if you're thinking, oh, great, T-Mobile was getting $4 billion, this is going to be, just as good as the merger, it's going to help a lot. Deutsche Telekom is actually the one getting that $4 billion, or actually the $3 billion, and then the $1 billion worth of spectrum. But obviously it's AT&T spectrum, and so it's U.S. spectrum, so it's going to help T-Mobile to really expand their coverage, and I believe they are going to use it for expanding HSPA plus. I may be wrong about that. Maybe I just assumed that, but it will at least help them to expand their coverage. In places where they already have coverage, but also in places where they didn't even have coverage, that new spectrum will really help them a lot. So it sucks for AT&T because I know they really wanted it, but it still worked out well for T-Mobile. And then afterwards, after it didn't go through, AT&T just got permission to buy some spectrum from Qualcomm, and so it ended up working out anyway. AT&T got some spectrum, but it wasn't as huge as they would like. As it wasn't as huge as this merger would have been, but it's still going to help a lot. So what's next for T-Mobile? That's kind of the question, because it's I mean, yeah, they still get the money and they're going to get the spectrum, and that's nice and everything, but the fact still remains, and this was one thing that I brought up, no matter how you felt about the merger, no one could deny the fact that there was a spectrum shortage, that T-Mobile was suffering, and that they needed help. And so, like, whether the answer was partnering with AT&T or not, I think it was important for people to at least realize that T-Mobile does need help. And so, and they still do. I mean, yeah, they're getting all this money and they're going to get some additional spectrum, but they still need a lot of help. They're, the smallest, one of the smallest regional, they're not a regional carrier, one of the smallest national carriers, which is, a lot of people don't think about that because, I know for me, I probably see more T-Mobile commercials than I do like AT&T or Verizon commercials, or at least just as many. And so, I think people kind of take for granted that, oh yeah, it's a national carrier, they're doing fine. But actually, I mean, they're really suffering. Even though they're still gaining customers, it's not as good as it should be. So basically what's next? This was going to be a really good deal for them, and now that it's not going through, what are they going to do? There's been news that actually, I just forgot the name of the company. Satellite. Oh my goodness, what's the name of the company? Dish, yeah, Dish Network, duh. That Dish Network might actually want to partner with T-Mobile, which is kind of an interesting idea to really think about and dwell on because you think how is that going to help? I mean, Dish it's television, but whenever you go back and look at things that Dish has really done in the past couple of years, they've actually been building up some spectrum and they've been able to do some pretty cool things with that spectrum, but they would like to add along with that possibly, mobile services. Now, maybe not, having their own, Dish being a carrier and offering cell phones, but just mobile services like, TV on your phone or, something similar to that, kind of the way that, AT&T has Uverse TV. So sort of like that same partnership that they could have with T-Mobile, but it would extend a little bit further than, just AT&T Uverse because Dish actually has spectrum, so the partnership might be a little more integrated. We don't know any of the details. I'm really just kind of like speculating and be like, I want, maybe they're going to do this. And so this is kind of what I'm thinking, but it's something that's come up more than once. It came up before. Now that the deal is done, it's come up again, and Dish has said that, yeah, they would like to. They're working on it, or, they're thinking about how they could make it work. So, look for that. I don't know. T-Mobile partnering with Dish, that could be kind of interesting. And then other options, Clearwire is actually looking to sell some spectrum. So, maybe a partnership wouldn't be necessary, but maybe T-Mobile could just, straight up buy some spectrum from Clearwire. Whatever would help. And then also, one thing that we've heard before that we've talked about is that AT&T and T-Mobile may still decide to partner in some way. It might not be a merger, but it may be just sort of like a joint venture type thing where they just put their assets together and use them for the greater good or whatever. Just use them to better their networks, even if they still remain two separate networks. So that's still a possibility. Personally, I think that has the biggest chance of happening because it's kind of like the obvious thing to do. I mean, it's basically the next best thing to a merger, and so I think they're probably already thinking about that. But we'll have to see. But at least now for everyone that was totally against the merger, you can sleep well tonight because it's not going to happen. And that's pretty much it with that. I do want to move on to Carrier IQ. We've talked about this in other shows, and basically, everyone knows the Carrier IQ fiasco now. Is this Trevor Eckhart? He did this video where he, supposedly revealed that Carrier IQ had software on like every single phone that was logging all of our keystrokes and reading our text messages and listening to our phone calls, and it was like this huge thing. People were like, oh my gosh, it's Big Brother and all this stuff. And it was a really huge deal for a long time, and there was a lot of crazy ideas, a lot of misconceptions. It just got sensationalized so much, and at one point it just people got the idea that the government was using Carrier IQ to spy on everybody, and it was just a very confusing, wild time in the past couple of weeks trying to just figure out what Carrier IQ is doing. It just kind of blew up. So anyway, things have kind of settled down. I wrote an article about it. It's on phonedog.com, and I wanted to talk about it because I think it's important, and I'm trying to, I don't know if you've noticed, but the past couple of weeks I've had sort of like a analytical, not really, sort of like analytical articles, investigative reporting, basically just to try to get down to the facts of what's going on. We have, obviously at Phone Dog we report news. We have a lot of, editorials and opinion pieces that kind of, give you an idea of what we're thinking, since we're kind of more in tune to the mobile market. But also, I wanted to do some just investigative articles to really show, what is actually going on. How does that actually affect you, the readers, and not just what do I think about it, but what's actually going on. So I've done a couple of those pieces. I hope you guys have liked them, but I did one recently, actually it was posted today, about excuse me, about Carrier IQ. Basically, who is Carrier IQ? What are they doing? What's, how are they getting this information? What information are they getting? And so I thought we would talk about that because, like I said, there's been a lot of just really crazy ideas, and I think, people just kind of got a hold of the topic and just ran with it. And some of that is just the media. Sometimes, and I'm not gonna like go off on a rant about this because I don't think it'd be appropriate, but I am just gonna say sometimes some media outlets, and news, sources, and not any one in particular, but they publish this just crazy stuff that really just makes you ashamed to be, whatever you want to call yourself, an editor or a journalist or a reporter. It just really makes you ashamed to be in the media field because, especially with Carrier IQ, it was like, a lot of it was just people wanting to get more page clicks, and so they would publish this crap about how, the government's using Carrier IQ, or Carrier IQ partnered with, just all these, like, not lies, but just it's been overblown a lot. And so I felt bad about it. I didn't think it was fair. And so, but there's been a lot of other, really good sides too. So anyway, that's kind of what motivated me to write the article. So basically, who is Carrier IQ? It's a company that specializes in offering insight into the end user experience of mobile products in the areas of network management and customer care. Carrier IQ works for the carriers. They're not just this, company that's just gathering all this information just, for the sake of gathering it. They work for the carriers. So the carriers are actually the ones who want this information. They're the ones that tell Carrier IQ to get this information. And, basically what are they getting? Well, they're getting information on, when or why calls fail, why your battery, why a battery may drain very quickly, what the data connection is like in a certain area, why, certain text messages aren't sent or received properly. Basically they just give the carriers an idea of the customer experience while using their product. And, of course, not everyone agrees with the methods, but you can certainly understand the benefit of it because, we expect carriers to offer great customer service. We want them to know the answer to every question. We want them to do away with dropped calls. We want them to, get rid of all of these problems, fix the battery problems, fix your network. I want perfect 4G speeds everywhere I go. We expect them to do all of these things, but if you think about it, how are they supposed to know why your call dropped? I mean, unless they have no way of knowing unless they're actually connected to your phone and they can get that information, or why your phone keeps crashing. How are they supposed to know that? There's millions of phones out there with so many different, apps or systems, all kinds of crap going on. I mean, how are they supposed to know unless they can actually get into your specific phone and diagnose what's going on? So you can kind of understand, where they're coming from, even if you don't agree with the methods. Now, the problem is, that they weren't transparent about it, but, that's, it was actually brought up. The Verge actually did an interview with Andrew Coward. I don't know if that's actually the way you pronounce his last name. It's spelled like coward, which is, ironic, but I don't know if it's, if he likes to pronounce it another way, but I'm just going to say coward. Anyway, who is the vice president of marketing, I believe. And he said that, people, because so they were like, why don't you just have an opt-in feature? I mean, wouldn't that solve, so many problems? And he said, yes, actually, the software does have an opt-in feature, and the carriers are told how to use it, but they choose not to. And, Carrier IQ doesn't force them to use it because they feel like it's not their responsibility. They tell them it's there and they show them how to use it. That's basically all they can do. So, again, going back to who's actually the problem here, I mean, it's not Carrier IQ, it's the carriers. They're the ones who want the information. They're the ones who, that didn't give us the option. The opt-in feature is there, but they didn't tell us about it. They're not actually using it. And I thought it was interesting in this interview that I just referred to. Um, so Andrew Coward, he made this distinction between content and information, and I think this is really the crux of the issue. Obviously, the fact that we didn't know about it is obviously a big deal, but I think also it was just kind of scary that we didn't know what they had access to, or what they were, what kind of information were they getting, or what were they doing with it. And so I thought this was a very interesting point, an important point, that there is a difference between content and information. Carrier IQ makes that distinction, and they draw the line. So, for example, let me give you an example that I actually used in this article. Say the carrier wants to know why a text message was not received or sent properly. In order to gather that information about why it wasn't sent or received properly, it's not necessary to gather the content of the text message. So you see there's a difference between information and content. Carrier IQ and the carriers, they don't care what your text message said, because it doesn't make any difference in whether or not the message was sent. The content of your text message makes no difference in the fact that it was sent or not sent properly. The only thing that matters is the information, like what time you sent the text, who you were sending it to, and therefore their location, which also plays a large role, obviously. Where you were located, the cell tower that your device was using. So, there's this distinction between content and information, and I think a lot of people thought or assumed that Carrier IQ was gathering content. They were reading the text messages. They were, collecting all of these phone numbers, or, listening to our calls, or, seeing all of the web pages that we visit. And while I do have access to that information, and some of it is important in their diagnostic tests, the content is not important. They only want the information. So I thought that was a good point. And then also, so we worry about, oh my gosh, they have this information. What are they going to do about it? Well, the simple fact of the matter is that information like where your location, where you are, the URLs of the website that you visit, the phone numbers that you dial, for the most part, your carrier already has access to that information, even without Carrier IQ. And I think people kind of either don't know that, or maybe forget about that the carrier, they already know all of the phone numbers that we call. They're sending us the data connection, so obviously they can easily see every website that we visit. That information, it's not like Carrier IQ is, found a secret way to hack into our devices and, get this secret stuff. I mean, the carriers already had access to it, and they could gather it themselves if they wanted to. It's just easier for them to, delegate, get another company to do it for them who actually specializes in that. So, anyway, those are kind of like just the main points of the article. Basically, the point of it was, Carrier IQ is not the bad guy. I understand it is still an issue, and I agree that we should have been told about it. There should be an opt-in feature. I agree with all of that, but the bad guy, the person that caused all these problems, is not Carrier IQ. It's the carriers. They're the ones that didn't tell us about it. They're the ones that wanted the information to begin with. And in reality, they're the ones that have been careless with it. I mean, yes, there's even with all of the precautions that Carrier IQ has taken, they still admit that yes, some of their customers are more careless than they should be. Obviously, they have no control over that. The customer is their own company, but they admit that yes, their customers, some of them are more careless than they should be. But again, that's on the customers being the carrier. So yeah, it's it's kind of an interesting thing once you actually read about it and you can read the article. It's, just to find out what exactly is going on. Who's the bad guy? Is there a bad guy? Is this, what are they gathering this information for? It's just good to know the facts instead of like just pinning it on Carrier IQ. I kind of felt bad for them that they were just getting all this beef for I mean, the information has been there. I mean, our private information, phone numbers, our address, social security number, that information has been available for years, even before Carrier IQ. Whether it was a business or a government agency, Carrier IQ just found a way to make it helpful. They found a way to take that information and make our experience better. So really, I mean, it's the carrier's fault for not telling us about it. But anyway, yeah, read the article. I think it's just important, for people to actually know what's going on instead of just making assumptions. But anyway, that's Carrier IQ. Let's see, what time is it? 4:25. I wanted to talk about the Droid 4, as well as Apple has gotten some recent court battles won. They've won some recent court battles, so I wanted to talk about that too. I just noticed I'm looking at the video stream, and it looks like very pixelated. Is that just me, or can you guys see that on your end? I don't know, maybe that's just me, but it's like just a bunch, like a mosaic almost. Anyway, so yeah, let's start with the Droid 4, and then we'll move on to the court. It is pixelated a lot. Yeah, I just noticed that. I don't know what's going on, but like I said, I'm having a hard time with Ustream Producer. But I just got actually the phone dog, my awesome bosses, they got me a new computer, and so I'm totally excited about it. But like I said, I was just like setting everything up on Ustream is like not cooperating at all. But anyway, so Droid 4, you guys are tired of it. I know, but I think people are only tired of it because it's a Droid again. If it were like just another named phone, I think we probably wouldn't be as tired of it, but it's probably just because it's another Droid, and we just had the Droid 3 come out. But I said this a couple of weeks ago. People were like, "What? The Droid 3 just came out. How are they going to come out with a Droid 4?" Well, this is just a leak. I mean, keep in mind that when we hear leaks, it takes like 3 months or more for the phone to actually come out. So I mean, just because we're hearing about it now doesn't mean it's coming out next week. In fact, we just got news, a leaked image to VZ Buzz, which is Phone Dog's Verizon news partner site. They just got a leaked image basically saying that the launch of the Droid 4 has been moved to the 22nd, which was yesterday, to February 2nd. So big leap there, 2 months. And I wasn't surprised at all. I mean, I never believed that the Droid 4 was going to come this month. I never believed that. February 2nd seems more like it. So we also have some new pictures, and I was going to show you guys the pictures, but since I'm not using Ustream Producer, I can't. This WebTop app from Ustream, it doesn't allow me to show pictures, and so but we do have pictures of the Droid 4, some renders. They're kind of interesting renders because I don't think it's actually the phone put together. I think it's the pieces, like the slate, the panel with the keyboard, and then the touchscreen panel, and then like, I don't know, the battery cover or something. Because if you look at it, like, it's all in pieces. So I don't think it's actually put together, but you'll at least kind of get an idea of what it looks like. I mean, it's, there's not a whole lot of difference there. I mean, basically it looks like the Droid Razr with a keyboard. You can imagine that. But the keyboard looks excellent, and I'm really happy about that because we really need there always needs to be a phone with a great physical keyboard. There always needs to be a phone like that. I don't care what Apple says or what anyone else says. Some people like to have a physical keyboard, and it's not fair that all these phones come out with crappy physical keyboards. And so I'm really happy that, Motorola isn't just, paying attention to the keyboard and, designing it well. They're actually paying a lot of attention to it and being very meticulous about how they design it. And so it should be a killer keyboard. Much like the Droid 3. The Droid 3 had an excellent keyboard, and this one looks like it's going to be even better. The keys are actually backlit, which is pretty awesome. But anyway, I can't show you the pictures, but you can look at them on the site. Lastly, let me tell you guys let's talk about, okay, so a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about the court battles with, Apple and Samsung, and I analyzed the documents and, basically what was going on, and again, trying to get down to the facts. And that was very interesting. At least I thought it was interesting. Anyway, Samsung ended up winning that case for preliminary injunction. Apple was actually trying to get a preliminary injunction to have the Galaxy Tab banned, and they ended up not being granted that. Of course, they'll still have a trial. Anyway, so that was a victory for, Samsung, and then by extension, everybody, like Apple versus the world, is pretty much. So, but now Apple has gotten a couple of wins, although they aren't huge ones, in a patent case with HTC. The ITC ruled in favor of Apple. And so because of this, all HTC-made Android devices running Android 1.6 through 2.2 will face an import ban that will begin April 19th, 2012. So next year, April 19th. Now, the reason why this isn't a huge victory is because Apple actually was suing because of several different patents, and the court only, or the ITC only ruled in favor of Apple concerning a few of those patents. So it's sort of like a half victory. And then on top of that, HTC is like, this is no big deal because they're really simple and we already have a fix for it. So it's really not that big of a deal, even though Apple won. HTC has a simple fix, and so these products probably won't even be banned. They'll, fix it, and it won't be a patent infringement anymore. Not to mention, devices with Android 1.6 through 2.2, hopefully none of those will need to be imported in April 2012. And so, even if HTC didn't fix this, hopefully that wouldn't be a problem anyway. So, kind of a small victory, but at the same time, not really for Apple. And then, a German court. If you guys remember, in Germany, Apple was suing basically over the same thing, patent infringement against Samsung for the Galaxy Tab. And so Samsung said, okay, we'll redesign the Galaxy Tab. And Apple was like, nope, that redesign, it still looks too similar. It's not going to work. But the German court, the judge felt that Samsung had sufficiently moved away from Apple's protected design with the Galaxy Tab 10.1 in, which is the revised version. So good news. It won't be banned until trial. Of course, I believe they're still going to have a trial. But, at least for the time being, they can still sell the revised version. So good news for Android fans. For, Apple fans, it's not really bad news at all, because, their German case, it was just a preliminary thing. They're still going to have a trial. And then the other one against HTC, the patents were really small anyway, so it wasn't really that big of a deal. So that's pretty much all I have to talk about. But I do want to tell you guys. I told you I had a exciting announcement. So I've been wanting to do this thing for a while. Okay, so basically, you guys love arguing about operating systems, which operating system is the best one. I know a lot of our site, a lot of our visitors are primarily Android users. We do have a lot of, iPhone users. We do have a lot, Windows Phone users, believe it or not. And so, but anyway, it's like any chance you guys get to argue about, which operating system is best, you jump on it. And so I thought it would be really fun to have a sort of battle of the fanboys live on one of our shows. And so I presented it to Aaron, and he said it was a great idea. So basically what we're going to do, it's not going to be next week. It's going to be the week after that, but I'll have like notices and stuff, so you don't have to remember the date, because I'm gonna tell you about it later on. But anyway, what we're gonna do is I'm going to have a couple of pre-chosen volunteers, and they will come on the show. Just they'll basically call in, and they'll basically just battle it out. And we'll have an Android fanboy, and we'll have an iPhone fanboy, and you guys can just argue and, see which operating system is the best. And then, maybe we'll try to have some Windows Phone or BlackBerry fans and some, I don't know, WebOS, or maybe they can argue with the Android fanboys. But I just thought it would be kind of fun to just, because you guys leave all these comments and you just talk smack about all these operating systems, and no one really challenges you. And I'm just like, you know what? That's not fair. You shouldn't be able to talk smack and no one challenge you. I'm gonna have someone challenge you, and you're gonna have to stand your own with someone else. And so I thought it would be fun. Now, hopefully, I will be able to have two people on at one time and they can argue it. If not, then I'll be sort of like the devil's advocate. And so, like, whichever side you take, I will always take the opposite side. So basically, if you say that Android is awesome, I'll say Android sucks. If you say Android sucks, I'll say Android is awesome, just for the sake of an argument. Anyway, so I thought that'd be really fun. This is just kind of letting you guys know about it. We're gonna have plenty more information. I'm gonna be tweeting about it. I'll have a post on PhoneDog to give you guys more details, and also to let you know how you can volunteer. We won't need a lot of volunteers. Probably six. Maybe more, but really not that many. So keep your eyes open for that, and I hope you guys think that's a good idea. I hope you're excited about it, and I hope we have enough volunteers also. But anyway, but that's that. I'm trying to think of a name. I think I'm gonna call it. I was trying to be like creative and see like what I come up with some cool name, but I think I'm just gonna call it like the Ultimate Fanboy Battle or something like that, or the Ultimate Fanboy War. I don't know. And there's no requirements really. You don't have to be a certain age. But I am going to pick the volunteers because I don't want to get some, jerkwad little punk coming on here and just saying something gross and then leaving. So I'm going to pick the volunteers and make sure that you're legit. And then, whenever we do the show, then I'll call you. But anyway, so I want to tell you guys about that. That's really all I have for the show today. I'm sorry if it wasn't like the best show you've ever watched. Like I said, I'm just, things were not working out for me for a couple of weeks actually, and so this show is kind of just the result of like smooshing everything together and trying to get something done really. So. We're just gonna move on to the open Q&A. It's a little bit early, but actually not really. Only about 5 minutes early. So if you legit, Sydney can say that word most hilariously. Okay. But anyway, so yeah, just feel free to ask me a question about anything. It doesn't have to be about phones. If you want to ask about something else, just to keep it interesting, I'm okay with that. Let me go. I am on Facebook. If you prefer being on Facebook, or if you're on Facebook, I'm there too. So I'll see those comments, even though I don't see any right now, but hopefully it'll refresh. Where'd you go? There you are. Okay. What laptop do you have now? Oh, it's a MacBook Pro. Yeah, I know. I work for the best company in the world. I'm telling you guys. Besides the fact that PhoneDog is one of the best sites for mobile news and reviews, I honestly believe that. Not just because I work for them, but I honestly believe that we have some of the best just content and writers. Anyway, so just besides the fact that PhoneDog is one of the best sites out there, the company, they take care of us so well. And so, yeah, I'm really excited they got me a new MacBook Pro. So thank you, PhoneDog, so much. I already told them thank you, but thank you again. Okay, is that why you tweeted that from a few days ago? Oh yeah, so yeah, if you follow me on Twitter, FedEx, okay, FedEx is, I have to tell you guys this, I'm so tired of FedEx, and, hopefully, I don't know, maybe I won't get sued for this, but anyway, so, for, whatever, FedEx, like, they deliver stuff to your door, and, in times past, they knock on the door, I answer it, because I work at home, so I'm home, like, all day, literally. And, whatever, they would knock on the door, I would get the package, whatever, everyone's happy. But lately, so I live in an apartment, and instead of knocking on my door, they've been leaving it in the apartment office, which is fine because I know that they're probably really busy, and so, maybe they don't have time to come to my door and, wait for me to answer it and all that. That's totally okay. But the problem is that they don't leave a note. Like, they don't tell me that it's in the office. So I have no freaking idea that there is a package waiting for me in the office. And and like whatever, maybe I'm like, maybe they think it's not important, but oh my gosh, what are you honking about? Chill out, dude. If you want her to come out there, why don't you get out of the car and knock on the door, you lazy idiot? Anyway, this dude outside is honking. I hate it when people do that. I hate it. It's like they go to pick someone up, instead of getting out and knocking on the door, they just honk. I think that's the most annoying thing ever. Maybe that's just a Southern girl thing, but anyway. Um, what was I talking about? So anyway, yeah, FedEx. Oh yeah, but the problem is that these packages are important. Like, this is my job. I get cell phones in the mail to review. I have deadlines. We have content that we have to push. And if I don't get these phones, I can't do my job. So it's not like I'm just waiting for a book that I ordered from Amazon. This is really important. So anyway, I'm mad at FedEx. They're just being dumb. Okay, her phone keeps vibrating. She's so popular. I don't even know what that word is. My phone's not vibrating. Is it vibrating? I couldn't hear it. Do you plan on getting the Galaxy Nexus? No. Although I just realized, like a couple of days ago, that I do want the Galaxy Nexus, and I think I just realized, if you're wondering, like, why did it take it so long, or why did it take you so long, I think it's just, we hear about all these phones, we review all these phones, I write about them all the time. It's my job, like basically, 8 hours a day I'm reading about phones, and I think I just kind of become immune to it. I hear about an awesome phone, I'm like, oh yeah, it's awesome. Hear about another one, oh yeah, it's great. But I sort of just kind of let it go and forget about it. But I just, and so I guess I've, oh my gosh. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but he's seriously just laying on the horn. That was so annoying. Okay, can you guys hear that? Tell me if you can hear that or not, because it's really annoying. Anyway, so you can hear it. Okay, it's so annoying. I want to just get out there and punch him in the face. So, yeah. So just the other day, I kind of was just kind of like passing everything off, and then I realized, you know what? That Galaxy Nexus, that actually looks really good. Like, I really want that freaking A. Okay, just stay calm. Okay. Anyway, I really want that phone. So let's move on and talk about something else. I wonder if there's anyone on Facebook. There's usually not. You can't hear the horn on Facebook? Okay. People on Ustream said they could hear it, but I don't know. I guess that guy can't. Okay, here's a question. I think he's watching this show at his car, doing it on purpose. Yeah, thanks. Get the frying pan. Okay. Um, Sydney, what are your thoughts on the Sony Ericsson? Actually, I'm not sure how they're pronouncing that. Nozomi. Um, yeah, honestly, I haven't had a chance to read a lot about it. I've just, so many other things have been happening. I've only, heard just a few details, so I can't really give you my thoughts on that just yet. I'm sorry. I think I'm thinking about getting a BlackBerry Playbook. Should I get it? It's on sale. Yeah, the Playbook is a good tablet, and you can, if you're getting it for a good price, I don't know what the sale price is, but if you're getting it for a good price, then yeah. Now, if it's like, I don't know, say $500, I would probably go with like an Android tablet that's the same price, because it has a lot more functionality and features. But if you get a good price on it, if have other BlackBerry products, or maybe you're just invested in that ecosystem, then yeah, it's a good tablet. Okay, just answer that. Is the Droid X2 and the Motorola Milestone X2 the same thing? The Milestone is I thought the Milestone was the Droid. Oh, unless the Milestone X2 is the Droid 2. That's the Canadian version, right? I'd have to check. That seems like so long ago, though. Yeah, the Milestone X2 is basically, yeah, the Droid X2. That's what I thought. Okay. Just wanted to make sure. How do you feel about the Galaxy Note? Is it too big? I think it's pretty pimp. I've talked about the Galaxy Note a lot. I think it's, yeah, it's just kind of like that middle ground of like being too big to be a phone but too small to be a tablet. For me personally, now for a lot of people, it'll be a great product and they're gonna love it. And I think it's a good device. Just for me, the size, I think it'd be. I'm not really interested in it personally, but I think for a lot of people it'd be good. Sydney, is there any news on a possible update that is going to fix a I just lost the comment, but I'm assuming you were talking about the bad battery on the iPhone. It's they've sent out numerous updates to try to fix the problem. Every time a new update comes out, some people say it fixed it, some people say it didn't, some people say it got worse. I don't know how, but so it hasn't been fixed yet. I'm sure they are working on an update. We don't have a release date or anything for that yet, but I'm sure they are working on one. Do you know if there is anything coming to T-Mobile in the next 2 months or so? Let me see. T-Mobile. Um, let's see. Looking at my sheet. See, I don't have any major releases. Galaxy S2, that's already out. Do not even start again. Okay. Um, I don't have any major releases for T-Mobile yet. Um, no, I don't. Okay. Do you know? Okay, just answer that question. Is it normal to only be getting 3.5 hours of use at most running iOS 5? No. Well, I mean, normal considering that everyone's having battery problems, yes, but it shouldn't be normal, I guess is the way I should put it. Do you think quad core will be out by October of next year? Yeah, I mean, the Transformer Prime, which is a tablet with a quad-core processor, that's already coming out within the next couple of months. Now it's, a different story for phones because, they have to be smaller, obviously. But yeah, I mean, I'd say that's a good time frame. I bet she beats him up in an alley after the show. No, probably not. I'm very temperamental, but at the same time, I'm too scared to do anything. So I just get really mad and then go cry in the corner and don't really do anything about it. I was scared that my phone was ruined forever because it's not covered under a warranty. Yeah, no, that's iOS 5. Everyone's having, well, not everyone, but a lot of people are having problems with the battery. Should I root and ROM my Galaxy Nexus? Taylor actually wrote an interesting article about that, about how he chose to not root his Galaxy Nexus just yet. And you should probably read that article because you can kind of see his reasoning. Yeah, in a lot of ways at the moment, I don't think it's entirely necessary, but if you just love certain, custom ROMs, then, yeah, sure, go for it. But for the time being, there's not a huge draw. Like, one of the biggest advantages of rooting your phone, and installing custom ROMs is to get like a version of Android that isn't officially released for your phone, or maybe to have certain apps that improve battery life or CPU performance. The Galaxy Nexus, it already has the latest version, so obviously you don't need that. For battery life and overclocking, I mean, yeah, if you want to do that, but honestly, based on reviews, I mean, I don't think there's really any problems with the Galaxy Nexus. So it's probably not entirely necessary, not like it is with other phones. But you can read that article, like I said, Taylor wrote it, and I think it was just called "Why I'm Not Rooting My Galaxy Nexus." I think it was kind of interesting though. Sydney, have you ever been to London or ever wanted to go? We have really cool carriers over here. Yeah, I actually went to London whenever I was, I think I was 13. I went to London and it was fun. I loved London. It's one of my favorite places. I think probably the favorite place I've ever been is Italy. I went there when I was, well, I was 17. I actually turned 18 while I was over there. But Italy, actually, no, I don't, Italy, yeah. No, yeah, that was probably one of my favorite places. It's just beautiful, and just Europe in general. I love the air, and I know that sounds like what the heck are you talking about? But seriously, if you've ever been to Europe or if you live in Europe and you've ever been to the U.S., the air is just different over there. I don't know why. I don't know if it's maybe just the weather is cooler. Maybe it's simple as that. But seriously, it just seems different, and so. But yeah, I love London. You're very historical and it was beautiful, but I think Italy was probably my favorite. Do you know when an HTC phone will come out with ice cream sandwich? Not sure yet. We don't have any definite release dates on that. What about Sprint and Metro PCS in the next 2 months? I'm not sure what you mean. What kinds of wallpapers do you use on your personal devices, nature, pop culture, celebrity faces, etc.? That's a very interesting question, AJ. Um, what kinds of wallpapers? Let me see. Well, my Windows phone, obviously wallpaper isn't really that big a part of it. Um, I usually have, I like to have like nature pictures, something with trees. I like, or like a single tree. I don't know. I just like having like a solitary tree in the fields. A lot of times that's kind of what I pick. But usually like on review devices, I try to pick one that's colorful to make the display look better. But for personal devices, I do like the ones of nature. The difficult thing like with Android is finding one that's not too detailed. I don't like wallpapers that are very detailed because there's so many details that it draws away from the icons, and so everything kind of blends in. So I don't like wallpapers that are very detailed. But on my Windows Phone device, it's a picture of my whiteboard that I have. I wrote on there some lyrics from a song by the Beatles, "Here Comes the Sun." That's my favorite song ever. Every time I hear that song, it's just like it's so not just relaxing, because relaxing sounds boring. It's just calming. I love that song, and so anyway, for one of the Dog Pound videos, actually, I wrote the lyrics all out on my whiteboard, and I just took a picture of it, and I just thought it looked cool. Usually, it's a picture of me and my husband together, but I thought this one was. It's just it's like every time I see it, it's almost like hearing the song. It's calming, so it has kind of that same effect. It's very nice. Okay, calming is boring. Well, when you have as many things going on in my life, calming is awesome. No, I know. Whenever I was younger and a teenager, calming and relaxing was just, yeah, boring. But now it's like I have so many things going on and so many just responsibilities. It's like calming, yeah, I like relaxing now. Do you like me, Sydney? Yes or no? I don't know. I don't really know you at all. Do you think, I haven't checked Facebook in like forever. Let's see if anyone is there. Oh yeah, there's a bunch of questions on Facebook. Okay. Just reminded me of the Parent Trap. Parent Trap. Oh yeah, that song was in the Parent Trap. Yeah, you're right. Is the Samsung Droid Charge getting ice cream sandwich? I don't think we have solid information on that. No, we don't. So we don't know yet. Should I get the HTC Sensation XL? Sure. Yeah, it's an awesome phone. Yeah. Okay, back to Ustream. Um, Sydney, hi. Hello. 849. It's just a random. Oh, you were talking to somebody else, I hope. I don't know if you were talking to me with that price of 849 because I don't know what you're talking about. Where are you today? I'm at home. Yeah, I work at home, so I'm here all day. um, will Sprint get the Galaxy Nexus or 4G LTE? We don't know. I mean, all the Nexus phones were supposed to be on every major carrier, and that like the first one was on two carriers, and then the next one was on like another two carriers, and then this one is on one carrier, so we're not really sure who's going to get it next. Should I get an Android phone or a Windows phone? That is a very interesting question, and it's difficult to say. I don't think that one is necessarily better than the other one, although I will say that Android has more features. So, I guess in that sense, yeah, Android is better. But really the thing that people think about the most is visually. They're very different. So basically, what I would say is Android is very customizable. You can literally spend hours customizing your device, and then the next day spend another 2 hours customizing it to make it look different. So there's that. It has a lot more apps. A lot more selection in terms of hardware. It's just Android is all about customizing, selection, and just making it fit you. Whereas Windows Phone is very simple. You can't really customize it at all, but at the same time, for some people that's a great thing. Like for me, I don't have time to customize my device, and you could say, well, just don't worry about customizing it. But the fact that I can, like, it's there, it's hard to resist. So with Windows Phone, it's very simple, but at the same time, it's elegant. I think it's beautiful, and it's also very streamlined and uniform. Every app looks the same, functions the same way, which is a good thing if you want consistent performance overall. So, yeah, Windows Phone, very simple and minimalistic, but also very beautiful. Android, everything is customizable, so it just depends on which one you prefer. But yeah, I will say apps. You definitely have a lot more apps. 40,000 apps about in the Windows Phone marketplace, 300,000 in the Android app market. So there's that. Do you prefer Google Maps or Google Earth? I've only used Google Earth like once or twice. I like every time I would hear of someone using Google Earth, it was because they were bored and they wanted to like look at the, Empire State Building or something. Should I get the Samsung Galaxy S2 or wait for the Galaxy Nexus? Um, really, they're both very, very equal in a lot of ways. I mean, you really can't go wrong with either one. Um, I think, one of the big things that people think about with the Galaxy Nexus is that, oh, it has ice cream sandwich, but the Galaxy S2 is gonna get ice cream sandwich eventually. So that's not a huge advantage because it's gonna get it eventually. So really, I can't say. I mean, I think I would probably go with this Galaxy S2. I think it has a better camera, Super AMOLED Plus display. The resolution is better on the Galaxy Nexus, but the display technology is a little bit better on the Galaxy S2. Just little things like that. I think I would go with the Galaxy S2, but really, like I said, you can't go wrong with either one. Sydney, what's your favorite type of pizza? I usually just get pepperoni. Sydney, have you ever used a BlackBerry or owned one? What are your thoughts on the OS? I've never owned a BlackBerry. I mean, I've used them, but it just didn't really fit me and what I use a phone for. So I've never owned one. But I think it's getting, before it was like for enterprise use only, like business users who only wanted to like read email and that was it. But now the web browsing experience is much, much better. The media experience is better. It's not great, but it's better. So I think it's kind of evolving into a more well-rounded device, but it's still just not really what I need. Actually, I know a guy who has been a BlackBerry user for a while. He had a BlackBerry, for a couple years, and then he upgraded to the BlackBerry Torch, the original one. And then so anyway, I was talking to him and I was like, the new Torch came out and it's a 4G phone now. You should check it out. And so he's like, yeah, I might do that. And so he got it and we were talking about it the other day and he said I was like, how do you like it? Is it better? He said it's much better. He said the web browser is a million times better than even the original Torch, which was already, a million times better than previous Blackberries. He said before the web browser was so bad that I just got used to like not even using it. My mind was programmed to not even think about using the web browser. And he said it was so much so that even now I forget that I can use a web browser, but then when I do, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. This web browser is actually usable. So it's definitely getting better, which is good. I think Blackberries deserve to live. I don't think that any OS is garbage or should just be tossed down the drain. Pizza is freaking awesome. Amen, brother. Okay. Should I get a Samsung Galaxy S2 or an HTC Amaze 4G? Personally, well, a lot of it is personal preference. I mean, basically, do you prefer HTC Sense or TouchWiz? I prefer TouchWiz. Sense is great, but I think it's just kind of getting a little long in the tooth. It needs to be upgraded a little bit, but still beautiful. But personally, Samsung devices, I prefer TouchWiz. The Galaxy S2 is, I think, probably the best device on the market right now. Um, Actually, yeah, I'm gonna say that Galaxy S2 is probably the best device on the market right now. Of course, in close competition with like the HTC Resound or the Galaxy Nexus, and of course the iPhone 4S is always going to be up there. But yeah, Sydney, black phone or white phone? I really don't. I guess black. Yeah. Um, Sydney, if I want to replace my laptop with a tablet, what would you suggest? Not Apple though. The Asus Transformer Prime, the Asus ePad Transformer Prime. I would look at that. Bye, Sydney. Have a Merry Christmas. Thank you. Note. Random comment from AJ. Just says note. Okay, it's 5 o'clock, which means that it's about time to wrap up. Let me see if I can get some last minute questions from Facebook since I haven't checked that in a couple of minutes. Do you think the HTC really has that bad of battery life? People say it does. Aaron is the one that did the review on the HTC Amaze, so I really can't tell you. Hey Sydney, do you or Aaron find the Galaxy Nexus speaker to be really quiet? Again, Aaron did that review, so either check the review or you can ask him on Twitter. Sydney, you're amazing. Thank you. No, you're amazing, Zach. Um, okay, that was the last question. Okay, so yeah, that's it for the show. Thanks, guys, for coming. I'm sorry things were a little bit out of whack today. Hopefully next week I will be, back on target and we can have a better show. And again, look forward to the Ultimate Fanboy Battle or Ultimate Fanboy War. That might be a nice one. That will be in a couple of weeks. And then again, remember to enter to win a Samsung Focus Flash. The post is on phonedog.com. It's really easy. You just have to tweet a message and just tweet it once, and that's it, and you're done. So I will see you guys. I'll see you guys before Friday because I do other videos, and I'll have the dog pound on Monday. But I will definitely see you on next Friday. I guess that's it. I always feel like I'm gonna miss something, but I'm not. Okay, I'll see you guys later. Bye.